deity of ancient Egypt supposedly landed with a pyramid from heaven. That's how the god Tehuti arrived. The pyramids of Egypt are a mystery, especially the ones in Giza. We find pyramids all over the world, but we're talking about the ones in Egypt. There are various theories and legends going back to, for example, the Emerald Tablets written by Thoth the Atlantean. He explains that it was the Atlanteans who built the pyramids and that they had very high technology. Most of them, of course, found their demise with the sinking of Atlantis during one of the floods, the great floods of the earth. Some of them did escape, he says, going to various other areas of the world to establish new cities and with their advanced technology. And that they also became the deities of these areas. Thoth himself was one of the first deities of ancient Egypt. But going back to this, Tehuti, or Thoth, arrived in Egypt with a pyramid from heaven. Now we know that Thoth had a spaceship, and in the Emerald Tablets, he tells us that he buried his spaceship, he concealed it, under a sphinx in a plateau of pyramids. Now, the Giza pyramids are not the only pyramids in Egypt. We also have the Saqqara pyramids that have recently been found to have 25 granite boxes in pyramids in the Saqqara, and they believe that those granite boxes were used for the production of energy as a battery, and that they emitted a very faint blue light that also shone through the pyramids and also gave free energy to the communities around the pyramids. Now, God Tehuti, or Thoth, this article says that I'm translating from Greek for you, arrived in Egypt with a pyramid from heaven. Studies show that the pyramids were covered with a strange material. Very little data has been found today on this. Are the Giza pyramids aligned with Orion's belt? Is it an image of the duplication of the solar system? And are they likely to perform some energy function and information exchange functions? We know that all of the cities in the Peloponnese of Greece are structured in a way that they reflect constellations of the heavens. And each city is where a star of the constellation is. Why would they do that? What does that mean? Why were they obliged to do that, as opposed to just settling a village where they liked it, where they wanted to? Because it was lovely, because it had a stream running by, a river, whatever. No, they actually built their communities designed as if they were a reflection of a constellation. The same thing with the Giza pyramid. The same thing with pyramids that they found in the Sidonia plateau of Mars, of our solar system. What is going on here? Now, going on with the article, they say if we read the Holy Bible in its original version, in the language in which it was written, Aramaic and Hebrew, you'll see what they talk about, as in the Mahabharata epics of India, or the Hellenized Mahabharata. It's a giant Indian epic written in Sanskrit. It's one of the three most important epics of India. The others are the Ramayana and the Great Puranas. The name is a compound Sanskrit word for Maha, meaning big, and Bharata, meaning tribal name, which means Great Bharata or Great Bharata Dynasty. Authentic text without any intervention. Quote, the god Tehuti, or Thoth, arrived in Egypt with a pyramid that came from heaven and shone like the sun. The Egyptians named this god Ham. The god stayed with the pyramid along with the Zepid tribe of gods that followed him, and Tehuti, or Thoth, concealed the secrets of creation in the Amedi archive room in a crystal ball. This room was in the ground and under the pyramid that came from the sky, and the location was very close to where the Great Pyramid of Giza is today. The Zepes left the skies. The Zep-Tepi left the skies, with the flying pyramid taking with them the crystal ball, and promised to return to Earth again at the end of the year. Now, that's the translation of the Greek article. What can I tell you? I don't know where these people got this from. It's from Pili Apocalypsis, and it's on Diadrastika. I've just translated for you. And okay, this is not the first time we've heard of Thoth in ancient Egypt or spaceships. We also have the recounting of the pharaoh of ancient Egypt in Cairo, in the area of the Giza pyramids, that in the Tully Papyrus, he writes his witnessing of the landing of the overlords of Egypt, and he was shaking in his shoes when he was writing this. The pharaoh, which is considered a god among Egyptians, of the ancient Egyptians, right? Well, he was shaking in his shoes when these overlords, quote unquote, were landing in the Giza pyramids area. Now, the Tully Papyrus was a text describing the written account of a UFO being sighted. Egyptian text seems to record an event that was supposed to have happened in the 18th dynasty, which was around the time of the Exodus, about 1480 BC or so. The big question is whether or not this is proof that aliens do exist, or in our case, it could be Atlanteans coming down, okay? Atlanteans were not aliens, they were here before the flood, for example. Remember that the giants and the giants of renown of the Old Testament were, even in the words of Thoth the Atlantean, they were so evil and selfish and haughty that what they were doing was against humanity and even the planet. And some of them decided to sort of convert from their bad ways, and the ones that escaped left and established other cities in other areas of the world, as we said, with pyramids, etc., and high technology. And there are archaeologists, cosmologists like Manly P. Hall that believe that these glowing orbs and UFOs that we see could be these Atlanteans that are still around today, because they used to live for thousands of years. But who knows? But anyway, going back to the Tully Papyrus, Egypt, as we know, well known for its ancient culture and civilization. And this Tully Papyrus was forgotten, and then text found in 1933 in an antique shop. It went viral when, in 1933, Alberto Tully, that's why it's called Tully Papyrus, Alberto Tully, the director of the Vatican Museum's Egyptian section, found what he described as an interesting papyrus sitting in an antique shop. He didn't have money to purchase it, so he copied it and then recopied it, placing the hieratic script with some hieroglyphs. And it's one of the main reasons skeptics challenge the authenticity of it. Today, the Tully Papyrus became something of a legend among UFO folklore, with many believing that it's without a doubt proof that aliens do exist, and the text is said to be the earliest record of UFOs have been written down. While the papyrus has been damaged severely, there are many gaps in it, and Prince Boris de Rushwelz translated the text, revealing that it was one part of the Annals of Tutmosis III. But nothing in that text refers to the actual pharaoh by name, which is something that made the papyrus more suspicious. So, is the source credible? The translation of the text suggests that the sighting of the UFO took place 1480 BC, and that many people were witnesses to the sighting of this UFO landing. Of course, it's entirely possible that ancient Egyptians might have believed that the fiery discs to be UFOs. In fact, they had been weather phenomena or astronomical phenomena. Some people were quick to point out that Egyptians were in fact advanced in astronomy So this would not have been the case. They would have known if it was, some kind of a space rock as opposed to a UFO. Now, it should be taken into account that the Tully Papyrus was not the authentic original from the antique shop, but a copy which had been translated. Also, no scientific examination was undertaken of the papyrus. The debate about whether or not it's proof of UFO sightings in ancient Egypt rages on. The following is the translation by Prince Boris de Rashwils of the Tully Papyrus. This is what he says. In the year 22, third month of winter, 6th hour of the day, the scribus of the House of Life found it was a circle of fire that was coming in the sky. It thought it had no head, the breath of its mouth had a foul odor, the body 1 rod long, about 150 feet, and 1 rod large, 150 feet. It had no voice. The hearts became confused through it, and they laid themselves on the bellies. They went to the king to report it. His Majesty ordered has been examined as to all which is written in the papyrus rolls of the House of Life. His Majesty was meditating upon what happened. Now after some days had passed over these things, lo, they were more numerous than anything. They were shining in the sky more than the sun to the limits of the 4 supports of heaven. Powerful was the position of the fire circles. The army of the king looked on, and his Majesty was in the midst of it. It was after supper. Thereupon they, the fiery circles, went up higher, directed to south. Fishes and volatiles fell down from the sky. It was a marvel never occurred since the foundation of this land. Caused his Majesty to be brought incense to pacify the earth. What happened in the book of the House of Life to be remembered for eternity. That was from Disclosed TV translation. But, the volatiles and the fishes and things falling from the sky, could that have been something having to do with one of the 10 plagues of Egypt? I have no idea. It could have been, the volatiles could have been, for example, some kind of magma bombs or some kind of a debris coming from a volcanic explosion, an eruption. We know that Santorini eruption took place around that time, the time of the Exodus. I have no idea. Anyway, tell me what you think. I do believe that we had ancients, pre-flood civilizations that were very advanced in technology, and we have accounts of that from Solon, who told Plato, who wrote it down, having to do with the ancient priest, who told Solon about the various advanced beings. I don't know if they were humans or humanoids or our ancestors or something, that had very advanced knowledge, and some of them could be around even today. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Thank you. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.